Now, what it seems one of your central recommendations and solutions for resolving the current economic crisis is to have the United States remove themselves from most of the foreign military bases and commitments we're involved with. Now, recently we've had the earthquake in Haiti, which killed hundreds of thousands of people. In the late 80s, I did some missionary work down there, and I'm familiar with the living conditions. But it seems one of the primary complaints for administration of the humanitarian efforts is that it seems to be hampered or hindered by the U.S. and military involvement there. And I wonder if you have any comments on that.
Oh, you say currently our military is a hindrance and not being helpful?
Yeah. Right.
Even currently, is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, because historically we've done that too as well. We've been in and out of Haiti a long time, and of course they've gotten aid from us, hundreds of millions of dollars, but they became too dependent and really never had a thriving economy. So it's sort of like you spoil a child and never teach them how to make a living. They don't grow up and they're capable. In a country like that, and it never gets really introduced into the idea of markets. But if I haven't heard that, but I'm not surprised to hear that the military is actually getting away, because I know when here I live on the Gulf Coast, and when we have a hurricane or floods, FEMA comes in, and they're always getting in the way of property owners and local police and the Red Cross, and yet we are a nation that depends on the government. They'll take care of us. So I would say this is the case in Haiti as well, and I'm all in favor of the donations that are going over there, and their money, in spite of recession, there's a lot of money going in over there. But for us to spend hundreds and hundreds of millions more dollars that we don't have doesn't solve the problem. And this to me, just it will not solve the problem at all. It's just going to delay it. The bill that they passed on the House floor, which I objected to, it was expressing our condolences on all the tragedy, which anybody should do. But it endorsed the whole idea that our military should go. They should take over all the operations. We should be in charge of rebuilding it. And we would have an open-ended financing of Haiti. So, like Rahm Emanuel said, don't ever let a crisis go to waste. Take advantage of it. So, in a way, it looks to me like we are going to have a permanent military occupation of Haiti. I predict they won't be leaving for a long, long time.
Yeah, it's unfortunate to hear. So, the last question is: do you have any insights or for our listeners as to what they might be expected in the coming year as to the impact, what you're doing, and how freedoms and embodied by the constitutional foundations of our country can, things that might be coming up that we should be alert to?
Well, I think it'll be pretty much what we're doing now, but we are making a lot of progress. We have our Campaign for Liberty, which is doing very well and trying to get people involved. I remain interested in educational activities and then the political activities through my own campaigns and the Campaign for Liberty. And I think those are the important things to do. But I think there's room for optimism, even though I think that we have to be realistic and know that things could get a lot worse before they start getting better. But you have to change ideas first, and that's where I think we should be optimistic. Ideas are being changed, and hopefully we'll have a transition that will be mild and not violent. But there's always the danger of that. So, but the ideas are spreading, and for that reason, I'm optimistic.
Well, thank you for all you've done and all you continue to do to spread those ideas, to change people's thoughts at a fundamental level and help increase the amount of freedom rather than decrease it in our country. So thank you for the time, and thank you for all your efforts.
Very good. Nice to be with you.
The title to my special order tonight is Current Conditions or Just a Bad Dream. Could it all be a bad dream or a nightmare? Is it my imagination, or have we lost our minds? It's surreal. It's just not believable. A grand absurdity, a great deception, a delusion of momentous proportions. Based on preposterous notions and on ideas whose time should never have come. Simplicity, grossly distorted and complicated. Insanity, passed off as logic. grandiose schemes built on falsehoods with the morality of Ponzi and Madoff, evil described as virtue, ignorance pawned off as wisdom, destruction and impoverishment in the name of humanitarianism, violence, the tool of change, preventive wars used as a road to peace, tolerance delivered by government guns, reactionary views in the guise of progress, an empire replacing the republic, slavery sold as liberty, excellence and virtue traded for mediocrity, socialism to save capitalism, a government out of control, unrestrained by the Constitution, the rule of law, or morality. Bickering over petty politics as we head into chaos. The philosophy that destroys us is not even defined. We have broken from reality, a psychotic nation, ignorance with a pretense of knowledge replacing wisdom. Money does not grow on trees, nor does prosperity come from a government printing press or escalating deficits. We're now in the midst of unlimited spending of the people's money, exorbitant taxation, deficits of trillions of dollars spent on a failed welfare warfare system, an epidemic of cronyism, unlimited supplies of paper money equated with wealth, a central bank that deliberately destroys the value of the currency in secrecy, without restraint, without nary a whimper. Yet, cheered on by the pseudo-capitalists of Wall Street, the military-industrial complex, and Detroit, we police our world empire with troops on 700 bases and in 130 countries around the world. A dangerous war now spreads throughout the Middle East and Central Asia. Thousands of innocent people being killed as we become known as the torturers of the 21st century. We assume that by keeping the already known torture pictures from the public's eye, we will be remembered only as a generous and good people. If our enemies want to attack us only because we are free and rich, proof of torture would be irrelevant. The sad part of all this is that we have forgotten what made America great, good, and prosperous. We need to quickly refresh our memories and once again reinvigorate our love, understanding, and confidence in liberty. The status quo cannot be maintained considering the current conditions. Violence and lost liberty will result without some revolutionary thinking. We must escape from the madness of crowds now gathering. The good news is the reversal is achievable through peaceful and intellectual means, and fortunately, the number of those who care are growing exponentially. Of course, it could all be a bad dream, a nightmare, and that I'm seriously mistaken, overreacting, and that my worries are unfounded. I hope so, but just in case, we ought to prepare ourselves for revolutionary changes in the not-too-distant future. I yield back the balance of my time.